All right, let's bring in a third voice into this conversation that is rolling on social media. Blaine Fowler, dual threat analyst.
Hi, Blaine.
Hey, guys.
National champion at BYU. I understand that BYU-Utah within the rivalry, that's the bigger game. There's no question. But just from an outsider's perspective, what win would mean more for BYU football overall as a program, nationally, all that stuff?
Keep quantifying it to dilute the emotion.
I'm just giving Boise State a 10% chance here. What do you think, Blaine?
Well, to humanoids, he said they were emotional, but are humanoids humans or are they robots? I'm not sure.
Are we human or are we
I got so
dancer?
confused when he said humanoid. But anyhow, it will have to tell at the end of the season. But the problem is, if Boise State becomes a bigger win than the Utah game, then a loss to Utah would be a bad loss. Because the only way the Boise State, now follow me on this, the only way the Boise State game becomes a bigger win is if at the end of the season Boise State is 11-1 with their only loss being BYU and ranked in the top 15. That's a huge
they're going
win.
to a New Year's Six bowl game.
But if we're saying we can only win one of those two, that if Boise State's a bigger win, that means that Utah's not ranked and they are 6 or 7 wins and BYU loses to them, then that's a terrible loss. And
is there a terrible loss to a Power 5 team that's over 500?
Yeah, to Utah. and BYU's had some bad losses to Utah in this 7-game run.
Yes.
They have lost some games to Utah when BYU was better than them.
2013, Utah finished with a losing record in Provo.
And BYU should have beaten. BYU was better. Should have beaten them that year. They turned the football over. So those are bad losses. And so if Utah's not ranked and Boise State's a top 15 team and they beat Boise State but they lose to Utah, then you have a really good win on your resume, but then you have a bad loss against a rival team. So you have to beat both of them. Now,
the question
if they beat both of them, if they beat both of them,
yes,
and Boise State is 11-1, then the Boise State win's bigger. It's a bigger win because on a national perspective, for Joe Ryder back, he's going to go, well, they beat the rival. He may not even know, or she, that they've lost 7 in a row, but they're going to go, look, they beat an 11-1 Boise State team.
Oh, yeah, and yes, if Boise State's only regular season loss
is BYU,
are you kidding me right now though? Like that ain't happening. Like
no, hey, it could happen,
well, let me tell you why it won't. BYU has played Boise State a bunch. They've never beaten Boise State when that Boise State team ended up winning 10 games.
And BYU's never won in Boise.
And BYU's never won in Boise. So I understand the stakes. Listen.
I put a lot of conditions on it, didn't I?
Yes.
A lot of conditions.
Keep putting conditions
without
on it
all
until it caters to your
all
argument.
those conditions, there's not a discussion. Without all of those conditions, the Utah game's a bigger game.
Like, yes.
Yeah.
And listen, in November, will BYU, will they have been in a position to overcome a tough September schedule, likely come out with a losing record, which has kind of been the deal?
2 at best, right?
2-2 would be awesome. You beat McNeese State, and you're 3-2, and you're going.
You split with the first 2.
Yes. So
I think that's not crazy unrealistic, though.
Split the first 2, I think, is a good expectation.
Yeah.
How reasonable do you think that is? And which one is more likely of a win, at Arizona or Cal?
I think Cal at home is a more likely win, but I wouldn't be surprised by a split and a win at either. They're not. Arizona and Cal aren't imposing. You're not going to play at USC. It's Stanford.
At Washington,
Stanford's
and at
not coming in. They're not playing at Washington. Those games,
not yet.
Right. On the schedule this year, at Washington, at Wisconsin, I'd be way more surprised with wins than those. I would not be surprised at all with a split either way with those two teams, because I think they'll both be close ball games, and they come away with one. That wouldn't surprise me at all. 2-2 wouldn't surprise me at all.
That'd be great.
2.5 months away from the first episode of After Further Review featuring Blaine Fowler. Okay, that's how close we are.
What is this, a Dave McCann
tweet?
Nice.
That's how close we are to college football.
I'm loving it.
We got some college basketball news in reference to BYU with news that Peyton Dastrup is transferring out of the program. Just surface level, what does that mean for BYU basketball losing Dastrup?
It hurts because he's a guy that would come off the bench with confidence and could be instant offense coming off the bench. He wasn't afraid of the moment at all. He was up to the moment. He was willing to take a tough shot. And it's nice to have guys like that. He also was a guy that kind of kept the team loose, that was a guy that was kind of not a glue guy because his work ethic was crazy or he went out and defended, but a glue guy that everybody loved and was a good part of the team. Unfortunately, I don't think Peyton's happy with the role of being a glue guy that comes off the bench. You know, he wants to be a focal point of what they're doing. And I don't know that his role was going to change much next year. So he goes. So it hurts not having that guy. And so now all of a sudden pressure shifts over to a guy like Zach Sellius. He needs to return to his shooting form that he had the year before. You know, Dalton Nixon has to step it up. And we talked a couple weeks ago. I expected Dalton to take a big step forward anyhow this next year and be a real important part of what they're doing. So they've got to find somebody that can be perimeter scoring when they need it to replace that. So it hurts. I think it does hurt.
Who should the scholarship that he vacates go to, in your opinion?
I heard you guys talking. It's so hard to find a quality transfer this late. If he had said in January, I'm out, then, or not in January, right at the end of the season, I'm out, maybe, but unfortunately, it is back in January when most of the big-time transfers are deciding that they're coming in the fall. And so it's hard. If there's a diamond in the rough out there that maybe could be an unbelievable lockdown defender on the perimeter, which would be nice to add to this team, then you go get a transfer. But those are hard to find. And if you can't find somebody that significantly improves your team, then you should look inside and reward somebody inside. The best thing to do is reward a senior so you only tie up that scholarship for 1 year. And you guys mentioned McKay Cannon. I'd buy in on that one. There's a guy that's worked hard, that has a role, and would be a senior. So it would only be, if you can't find somebody to upgrade the team, because if you find somebody to upgrade the team, then give it to that person. McKay's already in the program. This is what the coaches are thinking. He's coming. He can contribute. He's already here. But if you can't find somebody better that upgrades the program, then reward the guy in your program.
Blaine Fowler with us on BYU Sports Nation, talking BYU basketball, specifically the Peyton Dastrup transfer and how it will impact BYU basketball. Now, according to multiple preseason college hoops power rankings, Gonzaga, is clearly one of the top teams in the country. Nevada is a consensus top 10 team. Has the schedule all of a sudden become too tough for BYU basketball?
I think it has to be. When you miss the NCAA tournament multiple years in terms of at-large bids, you have to take a hard look at, in our preseason, are we scheduling tough enough? Now, when you schedule, and Nevada's a late edition, you know, you guys, I do for ESPN, I do that conference.
Mountain West Conference.
They're really good. And they've got everybody coming back. They've got the twins coming back, the Martin
Caleb
twins.
and Cody.
Jordan Caroline, they talked about him going out. What they've done there is they've assembled an NBA-looking team physically. It's a bunch of 6'8" guys with 6'10" and 7-foot wingspans that can switch 1 through 5, that can run up and down the floor and shoot threes, and they're playing them over there. That is a tough one.
A bunch of Gavin Baxter.
That's a tough, but I like it because even if you lose it at the Lawler Event Center, it's a quality loss, which it seems like these days when the NCAA is concerned, did they go on the road and play a tough opponent? Were they close in that game? And the road schedule is what's scary for me because they're going to play at Nevada. They're going to play at San Diego State, who's still young this year because they played a bunch of freshmen.
But beat Nevada for the tournament title.
They won the conference tournament and went to the NCAA tournament. They've gone like 7 of the last 9 years. On the road, that's a crazier place to play than Lawler. So in terms of environment.
You've always been awesome there, though, in the past.
That's a rival kind of a thing still. At Mississippi State, at Weber State, at Illinois State. So the road schedule is what's tough, but I like it. And I don't think it's overwhelming. And Dave has a veteran team coming back, even though Peyton Dastrup is gone. They have a veteran team coming back. I don't expect them to go out and win all of those, but the strength of schedule, win some of those. Now you've got quality wins and quality losses, and they really heavily weight road quality wins. So go get a couple. I don't think it's too crazy. I like it. I love, and I think the kids on the team, hey, they love going in and playing a Nevada team could be a top 10 team at that point, right? It's to open the year. Most of the people are talking top 10 for them. They were in the Sweet 16 and lost by a point, and everybody's back.
To Sister Jean.
Yeah, that's a fun matchup. I think it'll be fun.
Blaine Fowler with us on BYU Sports Nation, always bringing it, football, basketball, whatever. We'll tackle, I don't know, curling and lacrosse next time.
I love curling.
Greg does curling.
Let's do golf.
Who are you rooting for in the World Cup, Blaine?
I don't care.
Great stuff, man. Looking forward to much more over the summer. And Football Media Day, less than 3 weeks away.
Can you believe it? It's coming.
Let's go.
Sounds good.